appreciate that. I flushed that toilet a while ago. The Bronx ain't the same place. I love Arizona. I've been out here 3 years. I love Arizona. Let me tell you what I love about Arizona. I love your proximity to everything. Yeah, you're only 5.5 hours to Vegas. You're 6.5 hours to LA. You're only 20 minutes from the sun. And I know you're all Democrats, but you don't got to worry about global warming. Don't worry about it. You can live here. Don't worry about it. You can live on Mars. You like cockroaches. You ain't going nowhere. Don't worry about it. You go. Don't worry about global warming. But I do love the Bronx. I mean, the only thing I miss about the Bronx is the ball breaking. That's how we show affection in New York. We break your balls. Like, what's your name, honey? What's your name? What's your name, darling? Yes. CJ? Well, if I don't like you, I'm going to say, if I don't like you in New York, if I don't like you, I'm going to say, CJ, pleasure to know you. Nice to meet you. How are you? But if I do like you, I'm going to break your balls. I mean, that's what we do. That's how we show affection. There was a guy in my neighborhood. He had one arm. We loved the guy. We called him Slap Machine. There was another guy in my neighborhood. He moved in when he was a little kid. And his name was Richard Handler. And he made the mistake of telling us kids that he didn't like to be called Dick. Dick Handler, right? So for the next 35 years, we called him Cock. Even in a firehouse, I was a fireman for 20 years in the South Bronx and Harlem. And in the firehouse, we had a guy, he cut off his thumb with the partner saw. He was venting a roof and the saw slipped and he cut off his thumb. Now he wanted to stay on the job so bad that he had his big toe amputated and transplanted to where his thumb is. Now you think he'd be some kind of a hero, and he was, we loved him, but not in the firehouse, thumb and toe. We called him Thumb. Now we broke his balls. Like we'd be eating lunch, we'd say, come on, Thumb. What are you, some kind of an animal? Eat lunch, get your freaking foot off the table, for Christ's sake. What are you eating here? What do you think? Now I got an affliction, and I don't really talk about it. And it's not because I'm ashamed of it. It's because as soon as you tell somebody you're colorblind, for some reason they demand you demonstrate it. I know what it is. You're colorblind? What color do you think that is? What color do you think that is? What color do you think that is? I mean, it's not a superpower, right? It's an affliction. If I had polio, you wouldn't say, you got polio? Try and walk over here. You got Parkinson's? Try that needle. You can do it. It's an affliction. I don't get it. I am from the Bronx. Another thing I love about Arizona, I was walking. I think people appreciate how great you got in Arizona. I grew up in a tough neighborhood in the Bronx. The neighborhood I grew up in was so tough. I once walked 6 blocks and never left the scene of a crime. And I was walking down in Glendale the other day, and I saw a guy with a sign in his car window. And it said, I miss the Bronx. So I broke his window, I stole his radio, left him a note. I said, let me tell you something about who I am, and no applause, please. I really needed to get to my next bit. I was born in 1948 in County Cork Island. I came to this boat, through this country, Ellis Island, by boat in 1950. I grew up in the streets of the Bronx. At 18, I was in Vietnam. After Vietnam, I came back. I was a teamster for a while. I worked for Jimmy Hoffa. Then I was a legal bookie for a while. Then I owned a couple of bars. Then I attended bar for a while. Then I got in the New York City Fire Department for 20 years, the proudest years of my life. I was a first responder at 9/11. I appreciate that. The only reason I'm telling you this is through that whole journey, I battle alcoholism. Stone alcoholic. I haven't had a drink in 10 years, and for an Irishman, Maybe that's not really an accomplishment, it's more of a sentence. Well, let me tell you why I don't drink anymore. Alcohol doesn't run in my family, it gallops. Everybody in my family is dead from cirrhosis. Everybody. With the exception of my grandmother. My grandmother, Lord have mercy on her, lived to be 95 years old in County Cork, Ireland, and she drank every single day of her life. And she would have made 96 too. But she got stabbed to death in a bar fight. Well, let me tell you why I don't drink anymore. I was once on a cruise ship. And I was so drunk that I thought I stumbled on one of the world's hottest slot machines. Every time I put $20 through that slit, the machine would rain quarters. Beep, 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 beep. I put $200 through that slit before I finally figured out I was playing a freaking change machine. I once woke up after a 3-day load in Australia, no memory whatsoever, with a woman's prosthetic leg in my bed. To this day, I don't know how I got that. I don't know if another fireman threw it in and break my balls. I don't know. But of course, the first thing you do when you have no memory and you wake up with a prosthetic leg in your bed is you grab your own legs. That's number one. Jesus, thank God for that anyway. And then I tried to shift the guilt. I said, good God, man. How drunk must this chick have been to come home with a guy? I'm a total blackout. Who doesn't even remember hopping around the room? I mean, it's a mole or a study. This should resonate, you know? But then I put the blame squarely back where it belonged. I said, good God, man. What kind of a monster must I have been? This chick would rather hop out of here rather than risk waking me up to get back a freaking leg. And then there's another problem. How long do I hang on to this thing? It's not like a blouse, a pair of panties, right? What if she comes back 4 months from now like a mook I tossed out her leg, right? Has this ever happened to anybody else? You see, I thought it was fairly unusual. So I like to consider myself a 21st century guy. So I Googled it. So the man wakes up with a prosthetic leg and no memory whatsoever. How long is he required to keep it? And Google said 2 weeks. Apparently it's not that uncommon. But you know, when you get to be my age, you don't get any smarter, but somehow you feel compelled to give advice. I don't know what it is when you get older, you feel compelled to give advice. When I was 20 years old, I used to worry what people thought about me. Then I was 40 years old, and I stopped worrying what people thought about me. Now I'm 68 years old, and I realized nobody was thinking about me to begin with. Live your life! Just live your life! Now here's a piece of advice for some of you young guys out there. I see you having a couple of pops, a couple of squirts. God bless you. I wish I could join you. But it's inevitable. Some night you're going to be out till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Your wife, your girlfriend's going to be asleep. You want to come home. You're drunk. You don't want to get your balls broke. Don't make the mistake a lot of guys do. They come home. They take off their shoes. They put the key in the door. They sneak up the stairs. She's going to wake up every time I break your balls. Do what I used to do when I was drunk at 5 o'clock in the morning. I want to get my balls broken. You kick open the door. You storm up the stairs. And you scream at the top of your lungs. Anybody ever get laid in this freaking house or what? Guarantee she rolls over and all you hear is you're cooking turkey out there in that kitchen. That bitch ain't getting out of bed. You'll go until the morning. Go. You know, not a true word is spoken in jest. I wasn't drunk. And after 9/11, I went down to Keys. I got drunk for about 3 or 4 years. And realized I was killing myself, and at 58 I went to the University of Florida. I got a degree in journalism. I started writing, started doing stand-up. And this is my first book. It's called Confessions of a Bronx Bookie. It's about sex, drugs, gambling, and the mob. everything to make this country great.